the velvet of her bodice. And more tears followed indefinitely, as though springing from an inexhaustible source. And no sadder sight was ever seen than that dull and resigned despair which expressed itself in the slow flowing of the tears. But a door opened behind her. Arsène Lupin entered. They looked at each other for a long time, without exchanging a word. Then he knelt down beside her, pressed his head to her breast, put his arms round her, and there was infinite tenderness and great pity in the gesture with which he embraced the girl. They did not move. A soft silence united them, and her tears flowed less abundantly. "I so much wanted to make you happy," he whispered. "I am happy." "No, for you're crying. And your tears break my heart, Clotilde." Yielding, in spite of herself, to the sound of his coaxing voice, she listened, greedy of hope and happiness. A smile softened her face, but oh, so sad a smile. He entreated her: "Don't be sad, Clotilde. You have no reason, you have no right to be sad." She showed him her white, delicate, lissom hands, and said gravely: "As long as these hands are mine, Maxime, I shall be sad." "But why?" "They have taken life." Maxime cried: "Hush! You must not think of that. The past is dead. The past does not count." And he kissed her long white hands, and she looked at him with a brighter smile, as though each kiss had wiped out a little of that hideous memory. "You must love me, Maxime, you must, because no woman will ever love you as I do. To please you, I have acted, I am still acting, not only according to your orders, but according to your unspoken wishes. I do things against which all my instincts and all my conscience revolt, but I am unable to resist. All that I do mechanically, because it is of use to you, and you wish it. And I am ready to begin again tomorrow, and always." He said bitterly: "Ah, Clotilde, why did I ever mix you up in my adventurous life? I ought to have remained the Maxime Bermond whom you loved 5 years ago, and not have let you know the other man that I am." She whispered very low: "I love that other man too, and I regret nothing." "Yes, you regret your past life, your life in the light of day." "I regret nothing when you are there," she said passionately. "There's no such thing as guilt, no such thing as crime, when my eyes see you. What do I care if I am unhappy away from you, and if I suffer and cry and loathe all that I do? Your love wipes out everything. I accept everything, but you must love me." "I do not love you because I must, Clotilde, but simply because I love you." "Are you sure?" she asked, trustingly. "I am as sure of myself as I am of you. Only, Clotilde, my life is a violent and feverish one, and I cannot always give you as much time as I should wish." She at once grew terrified. "What is it? A fresh danger? Tell me, quick!" "Oh, nothing serious as yet. Still—" "Still what?" "Well, he is on our track." "Shears?" "Yes. It was he who set Ganimard at me at the restaurant Hongrois. It was he who posted the 2 policemen in the Rue Chalgrin last night. The proof is that Ganimard searched the house this morning, and Shears was with him. Besides—" "Besides what?" "Well, there's something more. One of our men is missing, Jeannot." "The concierge?" "Yes." "Why, I sent him to the Rue Chalgrin this morning to pick up some garnets which had fallen from my brooch." "There's no doubt about it. Shears has caught him in a trap." "Not at all. The garnets were brought to the jeweler in the Rue de la Paix." "Then what has become of Jeannot since?" "Oh, Maxime, I'm so frightened." "There's no cause for alarm. But I admit that the position is very serious. How much does he know? Where is he hiding? His strength lies in his isolation. There's nothing to betray him." "Then what have you decided on?" "Extreme prudence, Clotilde. Some time ago, I made up my mind to move my things to the refuge you know of, the safe refuge. The intervention of Shears hastens the need. When a man like Shears is on a trail, we may take it that he is bound to follow that trail to the end. So I have made all my preparations. The removal will take place on the day after tomorrow, Wednesday. It will be finished by midday. By 2 o'clock I shall be able myself to leave, after getting rid of the last vestige of our occupation, which is no small matter. Until then—" "Yes?" "We must not see each other, and no one must see you, Clotilde. Don't go out. I fear nothing for myself, but I fear everything where you're concerned. It is impossible for that Englishman to get at me. Everything is possible to him, and I am not easy in my mind. Yesterday, when I was nearly caught by your father, I had come to search the cupboard which contains M. Destange's old ledgers. There's danger there. There's danger everywhere. I feel that the enemy is prowling in the shade and drawing nearer and nearer. I know that he is watching us, that he is laying his nets around us. It is one of those intuitions which never fail me." "In that case," she said, "go, Maxime, and think no more about my tears. I shall be brave, and I will wait until the danger is over. Good-bye, Maxime." She gave him a long kiss, and she herself pushed him outside. Shears heard the sound of their voices grow fainter in the distance. Boldly, excited by the need of action, toward and against everything which had been stimulating him since the day before, he made his way to a passage, at the end of which was a staircase. But, just as he was going down, he heard the sound of a conversation below, and thought it better to follow a circular corridor which brought him to another staircase. At the foot of this staircase he was greatly surprised to see furniture the shape and position of which he already knew. A door stood half open. He entered a large round room. It was M. Destange's library. "Capital! Splendid!" he muttered. "I understand everything now. The boudoir of Clotilde, that is to say, the blonde lady, communicates with one of the flats in the next house, and the door of that house is not in the Place Malesherbes, but in an adjoining street, the Rue Montchanin, if I remember right. Admirable! And now I see how Clotilde Destange slips out to meet her sweetheart, while keeping up the reputation of a person who never leaves the house. And I also see how Arsène Lupin popped out close to me yesterday evening in the gallery. There must be another communication between the flat next door and this library." And he concluded, another faked house. Once again, no doubt, Destange, architect. And what I must now do is to take advantage of my presence here to examine the contents of the cupboard, and obtain all the information I can about the other faked houses. Shears went up to the gallery and hid behind the hangings of the rail. He stayed there till the end of the evening. A man-servant came to put out the electric lights. An hour later, the Englishman pressed the spring of his lantern and went down to the cupboard. As he knew, it contained the architect's old papers, files, plans, estimates and account books. At the back stood a row of ledgers, arranged in chronological order. He took down the more recent volumes one by one, and at once looked through the index pages, more particularly under the letter H. At last, finding the word Harmingeat, followed by the number 63, he turned up page 63 and read: Harmingeat, 40, Rue Chalgrin. There followed a detailed statement of works executed for this customer, with a view to the installation of a central heating apparatus in his property. And in the margin was this note: "See file M.B." "I knew it," muttered Shears. "File M.B.'s the one I want. When I have been through that, I shall know the whereabouts of M. Lupin's present abode." The small hours had struck before he found file M.B. It consisted of 15 pages. One was a copy of the page concerning M. Harmingeat of the Rue Chalgrin. Another contained a detailed account of works executed for M. Vatinel, the owner of 25 Rue Clépeyron. A third was devoted to Baron d'Hautrec, 134 Avenue Henri Martin. A fourth to the Château de Crozon, and the 11 others to different Paris landlords. Shears took down the list of 11 names and addresses, and then restored the papers to their place, opened the window, and jumped out into the deserted square, taking care to close the shutters behind him. On reaching his room at the hotel, he lit his pipe with the gravity which he always applied to that ceremony, and, enveloped in clouds of smoke,